Hey everyone, this is Mike Mehrle, and today I've got a special guest that I think everyone would be pleased to see the interview of. He's been on a number of groups on Facebook, and he's the author of 2 books and works with a fly rod company. And that right there might have given it all away to many of you because you know this guy. His name is Mark Usyk. And I'm pretty sure I said the name right, and we're going to go to Mark there and see what he has to say about that. So I did okay. I did okay, huh? There he is, the man himself who wrote 2 books, and I think, do you have another one in the works?
I actually have 2 more in the works.
Wow.
Yeah, you can't really juggle books, so I've got one that I've been writing for about 2 years.
Wow.
That I need to finish. Probably, I'm hoping by January or February it's done, and then I'm on to finishing the next one after that.
So I think about all the little the figurines that you have and the stuff that you set up every once in a while, and I think I've found like 3 of your friends on my creek. I mean, and I brought them home, and I haven't done anything like you've done yet, but they are sitting on the floor right in front of me, and I'm thinking, what could I do with those things, you know? So, but knowing that of the figurines and that you're going to be writing more books, I'm just kind of wondering, are they going to be about fly fishing, or is any of it going to incorporate some of your heroes there?
Some of my heroes and stuff, nothing says that a story won't come out that's completely fiction. They're all fishing stories, so there's all some fiction in them, I guess. That maybe I'll write a story about He-Man going fishing someday.
Yeah, there you go.
Awesome would that be? But no, they're all still fly fishing stories. Yeah. I have no plans to deviate from that at all. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing.
All right. Now, talking about fly fishing stories, your first book, and I've got both of them here. The first one was Reflections of a Fly Rod, and the next one was Carp or Jerks, which has a little bit to do with carps, I think, but not a whole lot. Very little bit.
Very misleading title.
Well, I know, but it can pull you in. And whoever did your brother do the artwork?
It's my cousin Sean. He's an artist, by trade. That's how he makes his living.
Did he do both of them for you? He did.
He did both.
Did he? Awesome work, man. My wife's a retired artist from the state of Ohio, and she said these things are just both. It's over the top. It's good stuff. So let's start out with, let me get situated here, with this one here, because this was the first one.
Yep.
What really inspired you to do something like this?
It's, there wasn't, nothing like inspired me. I didn't like wake up one day and just say, I'm going to write a book. It came on kind of slow. I started writing because of a job I had. At the time, I did it for about 4 years. I was climbing cell towers. So you live on the road. And I started that job when I was probably about 34. And most of the guys I was working with were 24 or barely old enough to drink. So on a job like that, on the road, it's kind of a wild life. And they all wanted to go to the bars at night, and I could keep up with them on the towers. I pushed myself, the old man on the towers with these young kids. I could keep up. But at night, I wasn't going to go to the bar and blow all my money, all my per diem. And it was the life I was past. So I started fishing on the road, which brought me to fly fishing because I got bored with the spin fishing. I was standing on a creek one day and there were trout rising. It was down by Cortland, New York, and I couldn't get them to hit my spinner on my spinning gear for anything. And I realized that day I should try fly fishing. This is obviously where it works. That whole match the hatch thing, I get it. Fast forward to the winter when I couldn't fish anymore. Everybody always asks you questions about that job. Right. Climbing cell towers is just this fascinating thing to anybody that doesn't do it. It's still fascinating to me, even though I did it and I don't do it anymore. So I thought I would write about the job a little bit. I was going to put a blog up and write about climbing cell towers. Well, I found myself having more fun writing about fishing after the workday than the actual job. I tried putting a blog up. I didn't know what I was doing. I think I had 5 or 6 followers. And blog probably exists on the internet someplace. I don't even remember what it was called. I got into fly fishing good enough that I was ready to have my buddy Jordan, JP Ross Fly Rods, build me a 7-weight for the springtime. And I started talking to him. Let's figure out what you're going to build me and what it's going to cost so it can be ready in the spring and I can have the money for you. And he said, I'll tell you what, move your blog onto my website, write a blog once a week, and I'll build you your rod.
Wow.
And that blog, at some point, I hadn't even been reading any fly fishing authors yet. I was just writing my own stuff. At some point, I picked up a John Garrick book. Then I read A Good Life Wasted and Chasing Rumors. And then I got into some more John Garrick, and I thought, you know what? I'm having fun with the blog. And I really connected with Garrick's writing. And I said, I think I kind of write, I'm not going to say I write in his style, but I connected with it because I try to write. If I wouldn't say it, I won't write it. I'm not all romantic about purple haze sunsets and all that stuff. That's for some authors. It's not for me.
Right.
I just write about going out and fishing. And that's what John does. And I said, I think I could do that. And that blog turned into the first book.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Do you want to give away what the next one might be about?
The next book is actually going to be about, I worked with JP and a group of other friends, a nonprofit. We focused on the Adirondacks. We're hunting down wild brook trout in streams, not lakes and ponds. The New York DEC knows quite a bit about their lakes and ponds. They don't know much about their streams in a lot of areas. So we hunt down wild brook trout in these streams in remote areas that they don't know what's in it. We take fin clips and we have the DNA tested, and we find out if they're a heritage strain, if they're a heritage strain that they didn't know about, or if they're wild fish that's got some stock DNA in them, completely stocked, whatever the DNA is. And then we take that information to the DEC, and it's taken a while. Try to get a nonprofit to work hand in hand with the state. The state likes to do its thing, but once you convince them that you're in it for the right reasons and that you're taking it seriously, the state is beginning to kind of change its trout management plan that it's had in place forever. And we've kind of been at the front of pushing that. And we've got a lot of other groups following in our footsteps now, taking the lead in their areas. That's what the book's going to be about. We actually found a native strain of brook trout the DEC didn't know about, and it kind of kicked it all off.
Right. So what's your favorite fish to chase? I mean, I never really want to insult anybody, and I want to say this right now. I'm extremely jealous if that's something if that's a quality that can come out of me. I rarely am jealous of anybody, and I'm really kind of joking, but I'm jealous, just for lack of another word, of where you live, because you have, and you're upstate New York, right?
Yes, I'm pretty much smack dab in the center of the map.
Yeah, I've driven through there before, man, and it's absolutely gorgeous country. I've seen black granite cliffs that drop down into some beautiful rivers and streams with, the evergreen trees growing out of the side of the blackness, and it's like, it's a postcard waiting to happen. Every turn, every corner, every bend has a postcard ready to happen.
You're right. I use that description quite a bit when I'm out just looking at stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Everybody thinks, if you're not from New York, everybody thinks, New York City. New York City's 4.5 hours from where I live.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, I've been to New York City a number of times through work and visiting and whatever. And New York's a cool place. New York City is a cool place, but I wouldn't want to live there. I mean, it just wouldn't fit my lifestyle at all.
Not much room to fly around.
But But if it wasn't for family here in Central Ohio and my wife's family, um, I would move to upstate in a heartbeat just because of all the different species that you guys have to chase up there.
We have quite a bit. So picking my favorite is pretty hard. I don't know that I could really pick a favorite. I could probably narrow it down to two: smallmouth bass and brook trout. The smallmouth bass, just because they're just mean fighters. They will clobber whatever you throw at them on the right day. You know this.
Yeah.
I know for them quite a bit. I've got them literally about 150 yards out my back door.
Wow, that's nice.
I've also got some carp out there. I can't see now because it's summer and everything's green, but spring, fall, and winter, I can see the water flowing from my kitchen window. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, it is, absolutely.
But the brook trout, I obviously have a pretty good connection to them. They're pretty. I have caught a couple of big ones, but out of let's say the four big ones that I've caught that were over 20 inches, that's been over 12 years chasing them. Most of them are 4 to 9 inches. The streams I fish, they're a 10 to 11 inch fish as a trophy, and they are really pretty fish. Obviously, they don't fight hard when they're that big, but they're more about the places that you find them. The places I have to go to find them is why I chase them.
Right. Well, when you got a fish that small and you're chasing them, now I don't have brook trout, but I have a fish that maybe not quite as beautiful as a brook trout, but some bluegill get they're a pretty fish too. And if you want to have fun with them, and you're going to be targeting these little guys just like you target the brook trout, you want to go with the 3-weight or smaller, I would imagine, to be able to get that action in there. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Like this afternoon when you go up on the smallmouth side, I mean, I've chased them, and mistakenly, quite honestly, in the past have chased them with, not to say that you shouldn't chase smallmouth with a 3-weight. I think you can have a blast chasing smallmouth with a 3-weight, because the thing for me is the fly rod's weight really doesn't have a whole lot to do with the actual fish more than the fly that you're trying to toss, the surroundings that you're trying to cast in, and wind. I mean, wind plays a huge factor in these super lightweight rods. But a 7-weight's my favorite for the smallmouth. And you know that, you know that if you're going to hook into an 18, 20 inch smallmouth with 7-weight, you're most likely going to bring it in. But I've cast, some nice small flies in the 2-inch range probably, and hit a hole that was holding like an 18 or 20 inch. Can't tell you exactly how big it was. It might have been a very aggressive 16 inch, but it would snap that fly off like right now. And then you're thinking to myself, I've thought to myself when I've done that, and I've done it more than once. So I guess, I don't know how many times you have to be stupid before you actually learn that you need to, if you want to catch these fish, you need to take the right equipment out. But, I've had I know trophy fish snap my tippet right off. And I'm thinking to myself, you idiot. I mean, what else are you going to think? And this is the first time I've actually, admitted to being an idiot on the internet. So, I mean, I'm just letting you all know that I am not perfect. Yeah. But anyway, back to you. We've talked a little bit about Reflections of a Fly Rod. We've talked about, another book coming in the works. You've got 2 of them. One's right around the corner, I think, right?
I'm really hoping to have it by like January or so.
Okay. Do you have a name for it yet, or is that something you would let us?
That I don't have a name for yet. It'll be the one about the trout research up in the Adirondacks.
Oh, okay.
Still reading it as a story. I'm trying not. It has to be factual and everything, but I'm still trying to. I get bored reading research type stuff.
Here.
It's still being written as a story.
I'm just wanting to let you know. I mean, I read, but you see this right here. All that research that you're doing up there, is it going to have any photographs in it? I like picture stories too. Luckily, I just want to say something real quick. Luckily, the way this is written, this is saying quite a bit because I do like to look at pictures a lot, but to hold my attention through a whole chapter, it takes a lot, and you've been able to do that, and I appreciate it because I rarely read a book cover to cover. I'm more of a technical guy, and if I'm wanting to learn something, I definitely learn through books and experience and other people, but I rarely read from cover to cover. But these two books might be the first two books that I've ever done that to.
I'm honored to even have you consider that.
Yeah, well, it's the truth. I mean, that's the absolute truth. So, is there anything that you want to, let anyone know, right? That know about you, or J.P. Ross, or any of this to that might pique an interest to not just listen to me about how well I think these are written, but pique an interest enough to to dive into it.
Well,
that's putting you on the spot, I know. But,
no, that's cool. You got to stay on your toes.
yeah.
There's a good friend of mine, and I actually put him on the back of the second book, Carp Jerks. He told me something one time. He's actually in the beginning of Reflections of the Fly Rod, because he told me one day that the stories in Reflection of the Fly Rod, my blog stories, were perfect length because they're all like 2 to 4 pages long. They're all pretty short in that book. They're easy reads.
Yep, they are.
He said that they were just the right length that he could read a story after he got up in the morning and he sat on a bowl.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were like, take it as a compliment or other, and I take it as a compliment that that's actually a good length. That was one of the reasons they liked that first book. And the same guy that said that, I put him on the back of the second book because he made probably the most, I don't know, maybe the most genuine comment about the writing that I do. He said, they're not stories about fishing, they're stories about life where fishing happens. And that's where I think there's two guys like myself and JP, who's in both books quite a bit. He's one of my best friends, not just because he owns a fly rod company. He's just a genuine friend. He's a good guy. We're in the industry because we love to fly fish, and it's literally life for us. Life comes and goes. You have all these different transitions in your life. And fly fishing has been once it entered our lives, it's been a constant through all those transitions. It gets harder to do it. It gets easier to do it in these certain times of your life, but it's always been there. It's pretty much what we were friends that grew up since first grade together, lost touch after high school, and came back together because of fly fishing. And that's what these books are about. They're about life and how fly fishing keeps it all together. They really are. I mean, I could write the same story over and over again about going and fishing for that carp out here that keeps breaking me off or keeps spooking before I even get within 10 feet of the creek. But if it wasn't for stories about how that same fish is keeping my life together, there'd be no reason to write more than one story or one book.
Right.
That's really what I think I'm writing about. I didn't realize it at first, but I've had enough people tell me about it that I've conceded they are right. I'm writing about life and fishing.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the stories, I'm not sure if you touched on this or not, that what you would like for people to get out of the books is to be able to relate to the stories.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, because not everybody has the the skill set to be able to put pen to paper and have a story come out to where the reader is able to relate to what it is the writer is talking about.
And you are right. And I know that, and it's not just that every person doesn't have the skill set to put the words down. I tried writing earlier in life before fly fishing, and I thought I'd like to try it. And it was when I was for about 13 years, I was pretty hardcore. I didn't fish much at all. The fishing rod stayed in the closet except for about twice a year. I was a metal fabricator. I was a hot rod builder. I tried writing both some stories about, the stuff that went on in the shops and at the car shows. I tried writing a book about tips and tricks about fabricating. I even tried writing a fiction story about the whole hot rod scene. And they all died within, the first chapter, the first couple of pages, whatever. I think my skill set would have grown if I had found the fly fishing and tried writing about fly fishing sooner. So the skill set could be there for a lot of people, but you've got to incorporate the right interest into it.
Right.
And I connected to fly fishing way more than what I thought ran my life for 13 years before.
Right. Yeah, I've got a buddy that he's a fabricator, and you guys would get along really well. His name's Tim Porter. He actually he lives outside of Chillicothe like I do, but he works over on the other side of Chillicothe for a company that builds monster trucks. And yeah, and I mean the guy's brilliant. I mean, he's able to do, and I don't know a whole lot about what you guys do with these cars and stuff, but he can take cars and chop the roofs off, bring them down, weld everything back together, have the windows roll up properly. I mean, I don't know how you guys do that crap. I mean, not crap. Sorry, I mean, how you do that stuff. I mean, isn't fly fishing just a bunch of crap to some people? I don't know. But
oh, sure it is, most definitely. I think I wrote a blog post. It was how to tie a certain streamer that I tie, and I literally titled it. You could probably Google it, my name, and I think it was gluing crap to hooks.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
You can take it as serious as you want to, or you can take it as unserious as you want to. That's my secret. I try to keep this as unserious as I can. It's supposed to be fun. The minute I try to turn this into, I'm going to make my living on it, I'm going to try to make a dime every time I turn around and make a cast or tie a fly or something, it's probably ruined to me.
You know what's unfortunate? There's a lot of really good guys out there. And in fact, I would really venture to say most guys that fly fish are usually, I think that they're probably pretty good guys. If you really was standing shoulder to shoulder out in the water talking, or, talking like you and I are right now, you would find that they're actually really good guys. But one of the problems with social media, and Facebook being one of them, and this is going to be on YouTube, but one of the problems is people misunderstand each other all the time.
You can't hear the tone of voice in a keyboard reading it on the screen. You just can't.
Yeah, no, and it's very unfortunate because, I mean, you can easily, pick up a good reputation or a bad one, depending on how one or two people perceive who you are and how they pass that information around.
Yep.
So my kind of goal, if I had one, is to try and bring all of us together in a way that we can sit around the proverbial campfire, kind of like we're doing here. You're up in upstate New York, and here I am down southern Ohio. And to be able to talk like this is pretty awesome. Isn't it better than, like you said, banging away at a keyboard?
Oh, I mean, that seems to be how the world is run today. I get it. And that's why I'm on Facebook. I mean, it works really well for, like, I post every day a picture and I write something about it. That's like a writing exercise. It's awesome. But it gets people to realize, oh, this guy wrote a book. Yeah. Maybe I should check it out because I like that post.
Yeah, exactly.
The keyboard can only take you so far. It takes away a lot of the personal connections.
Right. Right, and what's really bad about not so much the keyboard that I have here on my tying table, but the phones. you're not going to make predictive text mistakes typically on a keyboard with a computer. But man, with a phone, if you don't, go back and read especially guys that write these dissertations on something that can have like 3 lines for an answer. But these dissertations, they'll write things out. And these predictive text keyboards will change words in such a way that completely flips what they're trying to say. And it's happened to me too. And I go back and I try to edit them, but sometimes it's too late.
Well, it's too late. The phones are a double-edged sword. I'll tell you what, I have lost 2 phones to the creeks. They got a little wet and they were dead. And both times it was a kind of shake my head, stare at my feet. You should have known better. You should have been more careful. This is going to cost you a lot of money. But at the same time, it was like, I hate that stupid thing anyways.
Yeah, I know. I keep telling my wife that, I'm retired. I think you know that. But I'm retired from the fitness industry. And I built fitness equipment. I actually used to design, weld up, and sell it years ago. I've worked for a couple sign companies. I've been in the graphic arts department and that sort of thing. But I am getting older, and I kind of lose track of what I'm trying to think or say at times, like I just did. I was going to go for a point, and it just went right out of there.
Like, get it out.
Yeah, I know, right? Grab my tongue, yank on it a couple of times. I have no idea what I was getting ready to say, and I apologize to you and everybody that might be watching it this far, but that's what happens. Well, I think I remember the fitness equipment and building, and I am retired, but I still do. There's the good thing about the dementia thing. It's not totally set in yet, and I'm able to kind of go out and grab what I was trying to say. But although I don't do everything all-encompassing on the fitness side, I do still go out and repair a treadmill every once in a while, and it kind of helps me, stay busy, have a purpose other than just going out and fly fishing and just saying I'm retired. So yeah, I'm retired, but I still work, and I enjoy working on people's treadmills. I do. But it's not. This isn't about me. I apologize for bringing that up. And we are getting real close to our time here. We've been into this for about 28 minutes, and not that I want to cut it short or anything. I think but I think it has been a lot of fun, and maybe we can do it again sometime. Yeah.
I'm up for it ever.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this or not, but one of the things I would like to be able to do is pull in multiple screens, meaning, and I think I can do that, but it's through a paid version of Skype, and I'm still kind of researching that because I don't want to pay for it and then not being able to do what I'm wanting to do. Number one would be up to 4 people. I could pull in, and I've got the way my screen, it looks like a television station. You guys can't see it here, but I've got like this monitor here, and then I've got 5 monitors in front of me, and I got a display monitor, and then I got a recording monitor. I mean, it's loaded up. But what I would like to do is be able to take mine right here and yours down there, and I've got 2 blank screens on this system that I would like to be able to fill with people from other areas of the world or the country or whatever, and have a 4-way conversation. Could you imagine how that could be? It'd be like really being around the campfire. It'd be a blast. It'd be a blast. So I don't know if I could do it.
Is pass beers through,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, I do appreciate you coming on. And
I appreciate me.
Oh yeah, it's a blast. I'm kind of hoping that I can do it not just with you again, but if anybody out there is watching and they have an interest in. Not that I'm wanting to make this a platform for selling products, but I do want to make it a platform to be able to talk about things, and if it means to work in a product while we're talking about things like you would around a campfire, then so be it. That's even more awesome for me. That's what I believe. But anyway, I've got these two books here. I've got Carps or Jerks and then Reflections of Fly Rod. This video is, you may be watching it on YouTube, or you may be watching it on a Facebook group that has something to do with fly fishing. But if you're interested in these books, you can go to Amazon and buy them. Do you have a place that people can go to and buy them directly from you?
They can actually, if they follow me on Facebook, they can message me, and I do keep some that we could just go through PayPal or whatever. They could also buy them off of jprossflyrods.com.
Yeah.
If they're looking at some other stuff, or maybe they want to buy some books and look at some rods or reels or shirts or whatever.
Yeah.
They can get them off of there too. Yeah.
Here, can you sign these for me?
Take care of that, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, yeah, it's been a blast, Mark. I really appreciate you coming on. I've got another guy, like I said to you earlier before we actually started recording this, coming down to go out and do some smallmouth fishing with me. And if he doesn't come down, it doesn't matter. I'm going anyway. So, but anyway, in closing, again, thank you for coming on. Thank you for writing the books and helping this old man maintain a certain length of attention to a story and be able to actually want to get to the next story without having to do it like right away. Because one of the problems with me is when I read, if I tried to read, and I have tried to read novels and that sort of thing, I can't do it. But chapters sometimes can be 20, 25 pages long before they actually get to the point of what they're talking about. And my attention span is like a 3-year-old, It's like or a dog, you take a dog out hunting, he's like, I'm with my master, oh great, squirrel. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, anyway, I really appreciate it, Mark. Thanks for coming on, and we'll stay in touch on Facebook, and if you ever want to do this again, just let me know, and hopefully, like I said, there's going to be some people watching that feel that they have a story to tell, and we can tell it right here, just as if we're around the campfire.
Everybody likes a good story.
I hear, man. All right, hey, thanks again for coming on. We'll catch you later.
I appreciate it.